Stay the fuck out of nigga lane. Hey, don't swear, don't swear, hey, don't swear.
All right. Here we go. Here we go. Man,
Mhm.
oh man, we are back.
We are.
No games, just business podcast, episode 6.
Just.
Football's back. We back after taking a week off, but we here. We here.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah,
Darius. I'm here with my cousin Jimmie. What's up, Jimmie? How you feeling? How you living, cuz?
feeling good, man. Living good in the middle of a great NFL season. It's feeling good. A lot of excitement in the air. I'm ready to run it down, man. How you feeling?
It's been crazy. It's been crazy. I'm feeling good, man. I'm
Mhm.
definitely feeling good. We've had some exciting games.
Mhm.
We got some college games, some upsets going on, but
Yeah.
hey, sports is back, football is back. We love it, man. We blessed.
Mhm.
Blessed to be here, blessed to see another day.
Definitely.
We're gonna be getting into some topics today. What we got? What we got on the menu?
We're gonna run it down. We're gonna start it off with two takeaways from the first 2 weeks of the NFL season. It's been a lot going on, like you said. It's still early on, but it feels later on. You feel me? We're gonna get it from there. We're gonna go into the two surprises. Two surprises in the first 2 weeks as well. Run it down there. We've seen some things happen that really is shaking up the season already, and we'll get into that. From there, we'll go into a goat in my eyes. Jaylen Ramsey. Is he falling off? Are we watching him fall off? We're going to talk
Uh-oh.
about what happened Thursday against Stephon Diggs, and then also today against your Falcons. Now,
Chill.
from there, we'll
I don't
go
know
into
what
that.
happened, man.
We'll go into a top 10 quarterback in most people's eyes, Dak Prescott. This guy's injured. We'll talk about the Cowboys and if they should make a trade or not. We'll chop it up about that and see what they need to do, and then we'll close it in the NFC with who's gonna. I'm sorry, is the NFC up for grabs? And from there, we'll go into the three bowl predictions. The three bowl predictions I'm really interested to get into because it's early in the week, early in the season. We're talking about week 3, but the bowl predictions with these teams, with it being a big division week, I think it's going to be real juicy. It's going to be a lot of playoff implications early on in week 3. We're going to look back on this. But you ready to run it down with the takeaways? What's up?
For sure. Let's get it. My first takeaway is man, I wish I had a drum roll. But if I had a drum roll, we're going to drop it. And it's going to be Cooper Kupp is still lighting it up to show you that he is not to be played with. Back to back, already 100-yard games. He was targeted 29 times already. 29. Matthew Stafford's out there looking for him. 29 times. He's already caught 24 of those passes. So you could just see he's getting open. He's still making people miss. He's still doing his thing. Unfortunately, that didn't, show up with a win for week 1 for them. They did look overall as a football team. They didn't look great, but Cooper Kupp still looked like Cooper Kupp. He had a big fumble at the end of this Falcons game this week. But they pulled it out, man. They pulled it out. And he still did his thing. My only takeaway from that is just the overall team itself. They're looking like Matthew Stafford's out there looking like Detroit Matthew Stafford. He's turning the ball over. He's already had 5 turnovers in 2 weeks. They're trying to find a way to get Allen Robinson into this offense. They did actually a decent job this week. He did finally get his touchdown week 2. They're still trying to establish the run with Henderson and Cam Akers. But this defense, this all-star defense on paper where we got multiple Hall of Famers at each level of the defense, I should say. And Jaylen Ramsey, Bobby Wagner, and obviously AD, right? Aaron Donald. But this defense is looking like the middle of the pack. Right now, they're averaging giving up 100 yards per game rushing. They have the third highest, I should say, third down percentage rating. So they're giving up these plays on third down. They allowed the Falcons to get back into this game with the block punt Cooper Cup's fumble, but your man will get to him later, close it out for them, right? So that's my first biggest takeaway for this week. What you got?
My big takeaway is Leonard Fournette and how he's truly the key for those Bucks. Now you got two different stat lines, but for me, the rushing attempts is what hit home for me. I'm talking about 24 rushes this week with 65 yards against the Saints, and then we're talking about 21 rushes last week with 127 against the Cowboys. I'm not really worried about them yards as much. It's the mindset to hand that ball off to Leonard. And if they can do that, along with the defense, who's looking a lot better than last year's defense, it's looking more so like that Super Bowl defense, even without their number one corner in there, making plays, turning the ball over. That's what they were known for when they won the championship. I believe that with the key running back, who we don't recognize him as a top guy, but he's a workhorse. He's going to be able to do it week in and week out, and allow for the play action game to open up. We've seen Tyler Johnson have a big catch today. And I believe that's because you got to respect the run game. I'm talking about the Saints, who have a pretty solid defense from top to bottom. I would say probably top 5, top 10 of my eyes. And they were really able to control the game in a different way. It was ugly. I'm talking about no touchdowns up into the fourth quarter. Like wasn't really like that. But I'm talking about Jameis Winston on the other side.
Yeah, that was a tough game.
Yeah, definitely was a different one. And your boy Marshawn and Mike Evans got into it, but because you got Leonard, and that was early in the game.
Remember I told you. Marshawn be clamping Evans up, man. Evans not having that. He was like, hey, man, you got to throw the hands real quick.
real quick, real early. Like, yo, y'all ain't even warm up. I mean, shit. But anyway, so from there, I believe the Bucks can do a lot with the running game being what it needs to be, and we're gonna have to put the weight on Leonard's shoulders. What's your other takeaway? What's up?
Yeah, just to kind of extend on what you were saying. My only thing with that is hopefully Lenny can stay healthy because we know he has a history of getting hurt, but he does show up in the playoffs. That's why they call him Playoff Lenny. So, my number 2, what's going on in Cincy? What is going on in Cincy? They spent all this money, and they brought in an entire offensive line for Joe Burrow, the franchise, the guy that's supposed to get them to the promised land, who did get them to the promised land last year, but they just didn't finish it out against a tough LA team. But what's going on there? He's been sacked 11 times in 2 weeks. What's going on? Where's the money? You paid the money. You paid the money to protect the franchise, and the franchise isn't being protected. Not only that, but we can't even establish the run because our offensive line is playing so bad. Joe Mixon is averaging 3 yards a carry.
Right. See, we're talking offense week 2. If this is week 7, week 9, I get it. The offensive line is going to need time to gel. On top of the fact that I would say that they're looking and reaching a lot more as opposed to taking what's there. Check downs for Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert to me is the difference in those two. And I thought Joe Burrow prided himself on being able to take what the defense was giving him, but he's really forcing a lot. He's forcing a lot to these mega receivers out there, and I believe it's going to take some time. But I believe they really can do what they need to do only because look at who they were facing. You're talking about T.J. Watt off the edge. You're talking about Michael Parsons off the edge. That's tough. Your first 2 weeks to gel as a line going against those dogs. You're talking about Defensive Player of the Year last year and the young stud, or the rookie of the year. Arguably, he could have been Defensive Player of the Year as well. So, with that being said, they were still a field goal away from winning each game or tying each game. Like you went to overtime with the Steelers. That's an emotional first game. T.J. Watt, makes a big difference.
In a division game.
Right, it's a division game, so it's holding a lot of weight. But I believe, like I said, that line, the defense will propel or do well more so than offense early on in the season. So I'm not with the small sample size, I'm not gonna jump on them too much. But it doesn't look well. It doesn't look very well. There's only one other team that I would say looks way worse than them, and we'll talk about them a little bit later.
Yeah. And another thing is, you bring up, going up against two very tough teams right off the jump as far as edge rushers, right? Michael Parsons and T.J. Watt, and also those are Dallas. You can't sleep on their defense. They have to play defense right now, to kind of be contenders in the NFC. And we always know the Steelers always got a top-notch defense every single year, no matter what. But still, the reason why I go out and I pay the money for my O-line is to be able to outmatch those guys, right? They might not be the top-notch left tackle, right tackle as far as, my edge, to protect my edge, but this is why I pay the money to go out and get these guys to bring them in, right? But let's just look at their schedule over the next 6 weeks, because it's tough. They're 0-2 right now.
Right.
They then go ahead and go play the Jets, right? They're the Jets, right? But the Jets just came back and beat the Browns, right? Okay. So you let this team stay in the game, they'll beat you. Right. We're looking at the Dolphins now. I had them as a potential, right, to get into that like 7th, 6th seed. These guys are looking like contenders. I already said they had a really good defense, but that offense, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill is looking like the best duo in football right now. The best duo in football right now. So you can't. They might right there. That's already 1-1, and that's 1-3 for them. They then go up against Baltimore. Lamar is looking like that's your offensive player of the year. Lamar is looking like an MVP of this league right now, right? That may be 1-4. They then go play the Saints. A healthy Saints will beat this football team, especially with them continuing to play defense the way they are. They'll beat this football team. That's 1-5 right there. They then go ahead and play Atlanta. Atlanta played two tough games, right? Two very close games Atlanta lost. You let Atlanta hang around, they'll beat you. Maybe. I don't know. The way their fourth quarter magic, it just doesn't work. Yeah. So it can actually go the opposite way, and they'll win 2 games. So that's the second one. And then they go up against Cleveland, another division game, which can go either way. As long as Cleveland doesn't play Cleveland football and lose a game that they're supposed to win to the Jets, they could potentially be – that's 2-6 right there. That's 2-6 right there.
That schedule is very difficult. I would argue they have the second most difficult division as well. But when you talk about the Browns and how they came back, Jacoby Brissett is a top I would say backup quarterback. But we're talking about Joe Burrow.
Top five backup quarterbacks.
He's right there. He's right there. But we're talking about Joe Burrow here. We're talking about a team who has experience, a team who you could argue is more well-rounded than a lot of those teams you name. They have a lot of top-end talent, but the Bengals, I believe they have versatility. They have, especially up front, their front seven. Like, you're talking about people who are trying to get paid. Jesse Bates, that's someone who I believe will be able to jump off the page and make plays, especially against a team like the Ravens. These are teams, they're going to be in the game. There were a lot of games last year where it came down to the last possession, the last drive, and the Bengals have proven year in and year out that they're clutch. They're a clutch team. And when I say year in and year out, I mean in the Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor era. They are in games for a reason. And that's because their front seven is able to do what they need to do, and that's on the defensive front. That defense bends, but it don't break. Along with the weapons, they'll be fine. You're talking about mad turnovers. I want to say 3 turnovers against the Steelers, but you're still in the game. Like the Steelers, they aren't, a prolific offense, but in the same breath, you're talking about someone who also did this year already, Josh Allen. He had mad turnovers, two to three interceptions first week against the Rams. The Rams didn't capitalize off those turnovers. I believe the Bengals will. That high-powered offense, along with the defense, who is solid, they're not going to beat themselves, but allow for them to be in favorable position when you're talking about Week 7. I believe they can be 500. They've got the short stick. We're talking about the Cowboys game today. That one was given to them, and I believe they fumbled the bag. That's going to come back and bite them. But with the division, where you have the second best quarterback in that division, I think you'll be perfectly fine going forward. The Browns, I do not believe in them. Trubisky or Kenny Pickett, I do not believe in. And then you're talking about T.J. Watt being hurt. I think the Browns will be fine, but they have to get it together now. I usually don't react this early in the season. It's week 2. So you're talking about the best duo, Tyreek and if you show it, prove it to me. I need to see a bigger sample size. You're talking about 2 games, 2 as well. I love 2. Just two is yet to prove it. I gotta see it consistent.
Two is on my prove it list. But I mean, when you beat Baltimore in a high scoring game like that, that's big time. That's big time. When you can throw 6 touchdowns against a Baltimore Ravens defense, that's big time.
But when you're coming back slinging it around, it's a little different. You know what I'm saying? Like, you coming from a lockdown, you're just slinging it. 2 ain't not much to think about. Get us back in this game.
A win's a win. A win's a win. I'll take it. I
needed to be more I don't know, in playoff atmosphere. I need Tua and Mac Jones, these younger quarterbacks, to be put in a position where it's a playoff type of feel to it. That's not playoff football. You're not going to be asked to drop 40 and 30 points. I know they can do that. I know Miami's able to do that. But to have to do that as opposed to, enforcing your will initially, it's very different. In a game where you got to stop the run and run the ball in a proper manner, I don't think Miami could do that. I don't believe in their front 7 on either side yet. But I'll give them some time. I might be up there with you saying they a contender and such, but the weapons allow for them to be in every game going forward. So,
for sure.
Right, man. For me, the Super Bowl, man. The Super Bowl hangovers are real. That's the takeaway for me. You just spoke on the Bengals, and we spoke on the Rams a little bit. For you to come out flat like that, the Rams, I'm speaking for them first against the Bills. You're talking about so many different reasons to get amped up and hyped up for this game. You just won the Super Bowl. They're about to, recognize you for that. Von Miller's on the other side. There's a lot. These are the Super Bowl favorites, the Bills you're facing, and you lay an egg. I know it's week 1, and I'm not going to react too much about that. But then week 2, it's like, this week against the Falcons, you got the game in hand, and you allowed them to march back into the game. A young team, a team that, they don't necessarily have a strength.
They don't have nothing to lose either. Right. Everyone's already counted them out. So if they get a win, that's what they want. They want to beat those top teams. They want to embarrass you and stop you from going to where potentially they're most likely not going to be able to go.
Right. And the Falcons are usually known for doing that towards the end of the year. Yeah,
whoa.
I usually, sniping and beat the Panthers or something like that. Affect the playoff contention and stuff. But
we do that. That is funny.
For sure. But you're talking about the Bills and the Falcons, 2 totally different teams, and you reacted in similar ways. You bounced back a little bit, Jaylen Ramsey. I like that, but Stephon Diggs was not on the other side. And from there we go to the Bengals. Just about Steelers Cowboys. We spoke on that a little bit. It's a difficult sample size compared to a small sample size, difficult opponent compared to that of the Rams. But you're talking about a team who we thought would potentially run away or be number 2 in the division. You lost the division game already. And like you spoke on, we have a lot of division games going forward within the first half of the season. This is time to get together. You don't have much time to lay an egg, to come out slow. And that's exactly what they're doing. That hangover is real just as much as that Madden curse, man. It's something serious.
Yo, Madden curse, no joke. I believe in it.
Man.
Yeah, the Super Bowl hangover is definitely real. I agree. I could agree with that. So let's see what these teams do moving forward. We still got them in the playoffs, right?
I do.
You got the Bengals in the playoffs still?
Yes, they're gonna finish second to the Ravens. That's my prediction. Yeah,
I like it.
for sure, for sure. You ready to get into these surprises, man?
Yeah.
All right, man. These surprises. I'm gonna start it off with these injuries, man. These injuries really surprised me, man. It's about TJ, Dak, Trey today, and the way those three guys being injured affects the league is different than anything I've seen in recent history. You're talking about how soon or how fast it happened within the season. You're talking about TJ Watt. If TJ Watt plays today, then I'm a Patriot fan. If TJ Watt plays today, I don't think we win. You're talking about we beat TJ Watt, your best player, by 3. Without TJ Watt, we beat y'all by 3. I don't know. Dak, yes, they got the win today, but the amount of opportunities the Cowboys were given in the game against the Bengals, Dak would have capitalized more so than what Cooper did. Now with Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's built for this. We spoke on Trey Lance before. Are they all in on Trey Lance? Is Jimmy Garoppolo, will he be traded here or there? I believe Trey Lance, man, with the injury potentially being out all year, it's a blessing in disguise for these 49ers. Trey Lance didn't look too ready based off week 1 to me. I know the weather was crazy to deal with, but
Yeah, that was a tough field, man.
Yeah,
Like flooded.
disgusting.
That field was totally flooded.
Yeah, it was over there just sliding and crazy. But Trey Lance, that's a big one. That to me, that's the biggest one. Not because CJ Watt will be back, but because what we thought the 49ers could be. We know what they can be with Jimmy Garoppolo. They truly could be a contender. But with Trey, I feel like the sky was really the limit, man. And I feel like it's already shaking up the season in a different way. What's up with you?
I hate injuries, man. I hate injuries. Whether it's your third, fourth string guy or even your superstar, it sucks. Being an athlete. You were an athlete as well. You just hate seeing that happen. But yeah, TJ Watt definitely changes the game. He could change the outcome of the game, and that's what you want out of your edge rush. We was all excited to see Trey Lance. He was one of my breakout players, as we discussed, and unfortunately, his season looks like it has ended. So for me, as you can see, it's kind of a trend for me on the offensive side. You're a big defense wins championships, and at one point I was, but I see the way this NFL is going in this offensive league at this time. And my biggest surprise is why isn't the Raiders getting it done? You have you lose a tough division game against the Chargers, I said it was their division to lose.
Right.
And then you lose to a Cardinals team that just looks lost without D-Hop. These guys, Kyler can't get none of his weapons the ball. And you let them come back from a 20-point deficit and beat you? Come on. You got Waller. You got Adams. You got Renfro. You got Jacobs. This offense should be easily a top 5 offense with Derek Carr leading them. We're noticing that McDaniels is a great offensive a solid offensive coordinator. But again, when he gets that head coaching position, just like he did in Denver, it doesn't correlate. This isn't the Patriots. This isn't the Patriots way. You got to make it the McDaniels way, not what Bill Belichick does. Bill Belichick does, not his way, but your way. You need to find a way to get this team into the playoffs, because I don't think he's going to last long in Vegas if this team cannot get it together. And
even with that division,
you can't lose that game today. That's a game in a tough division. Just like I said, week 1 when Denver lost to Seattle. When you're in a tough division like that, you got to win those games. Those games matter. That helps you get to 10-5. I mean, now we're looking at 10-7. But that gets you the extra hump to where maybe you'll get 2 or 3 teams into the playoffs because of your record, because you got a tough division. Maybe you steal one from Kansas City. Maybe if you could steal one from LA, that'll help you. So you got to win those games. And when you lose those games, come on, Vegas. What's going on there? What's going on? Why can't I get Devontae Adams going? Why can't I establish the run? You had a three-headed monster in New England, right? You ran a three back system. Now you got one back that you've done with three. Why isn't Josh Jacobs getting the ball rolling? What's going on? And also they can't play defense either. So
yeah, that was the main thing for me because, like you said, defense does win championships, but defense closes out games more than anything. And in this game, we seen whose defense was better, and a lot of times those weapons, especially on the perimeter, you can do something about that. Like I'm glad you said something about Josh Jacobs because establishing a run to me is the answer. Committing to it. I understand you have nice weapons on the outside, but that can distract you as an offense. The Raiders, I believe, once they added Devontae Adams, their ceiling rose, but their formula should have stayed the same. Hand that ball off, and the Patriot way isn't going to work in the Raiders. There's more talent on the field. The Patriot way is not based off talent. It's actually based off the opposite. There's a nice man, a revolving door. What the Raiders need to maximize
based on system.
Right, it's a system. These aren't system guys and with the Raiders. Josh McDaniels is not a system coach. These are stars. You need to get them the ball out in space, but make it easier. Don't become too predictable. And I believe that's what happened after they watched the Chargers tape. There was a lot of, I would say the Chargers, they mix it up a little bit, but they could have did a lot more as far as pressing Devontae at the line. Maybe even challenging Devontae on some one-on-one coverages. Forcing the Raiders to make a decision to run the ball or pass the ball. And if you're the Raiders, again, run the ball. You have the ability at any point in time to drop back and make a play. Don't forcefully do it. Now, as far as you saying he'll be out of there, this, that, and the third, I don't think so. I think there's a built-in excuse in that division. You're talking about the worst quarterback out of them all. He can say that. You can talk about the worst defense out of them all. He can say that. Like, and you talking about the defense and the quarterback, and he's maybe the second worst coach in that division. You don't know. Like the three things that are important: your coach, your quarterback, and your defense. He has it built in the hardest division in the NFL. We've seen the Patrick Mahomes Chiefs continue on as if nothing was ever done about Tyreek Hill being traded, or Justin Herbert, even with the ribs, still throwing darts and keeping him in the game and fighting. Derek Carr's not that guy. Derek Carr's not the best guy on the field, and when your quarterback's not, you suffer consequences. That's the Raiders. They're very, very similar to them Bengals. I'm gonna give them a little time. They have a lot of weapons. They have a lot of potential. They had a great postseason last year, doing what we thought they couldn't, and eliminating Justin Herbert. I believe they can be clutch again. They have an opportunity. They'll be in it. You're talking about the Chargers who fold at any point in time in the season. They'll be solid. They'll be fine.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I definitely think this is a win now league. So, if McDaniels can't get it done within the first 2 years, I mean, with Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes in that division, you're never going to get it done. And I mean, Russ is going to be there for at least the next 3 years, right? He signed a 5-year contract, but I think he'll be there at least for 3 years. But definitely a win now league. You're right on the money with the offense. New guys in the system, guys haven't really gelled yet in a real football game, right? It's but so much you can do running routes on air, playing 7-on-7. That's not going to do much. It all comes down to when you actually play real football games. So yeah, hopefully we could definitely see some of these offenses get better as the year goes. But I got to stick to it as far as the Raiders still making the playoffs and 3 teams coming out of that division.
Okay. And for me, my last surprise, man, was them Colts, man. This is the team that looks worse than the Bengals. The only team they may look the worst in the NFL, man. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. You're talking about your former guy, Matt Ryan, man.
Matty
17
Ice.
points in the fourth quarter against the Texans. No points until then against the Texans. What are we saying? Anywho, so Matt Ryan from there this week, he's going to throw 3 interceptions against the Jags. These are division games, Ryan. What are you doing? Like, we thought Carson Wentz was
2 division games. They started off back-to-back with the 2 worst teams in their division.
Those are gimmies in the division.
Yes, those are gimmies. You're right.
I don't even know what to say. Like, he's not Carson Wentz. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. Like, Matt Ryan, give him an opportunity. Again, it's early in the season. It's a new system, a new coach. You don't have what you used to have. But come on, Ryan. We got to get right. You're talking about a top 5, top 10 offensive line in the league, young weapons, and an easier schedule. The easiest schedule in the first 2 weeks. He had the easiest schedule. You better make do with what you got now. You're going to play these 2 teams again, so you hopefully at least split. If you don't split, I don't know what's going on. You should have kept Carson. But, yeah, they really surprised me, man. Them Colts.
Ryan. Man, you hit it right on the money because you basically stole mine. That was mine all the way. Yes. The surprise right there. You bring in a former MVP. You bring in a veteran in Matt Ryan. You ship out Carson Wentz. You can see he's already having his up and downs in Washington, right? That was another. Detroit is actually a very tough. They're tough. And remember, I told you, watch out for Aiden Hutchinson. You see my boy, man. You see my boy went crazy today. Yeah, he here. He here. But yeah, you got the best running back in football, Jonathan Taylor. You got the 9th best offensive line per Football Focus in the league at this time. And you get stomped out by the Jaguars with a big donut. Come on, Matty. What's going on? Don't get me wrong. Losing Michael Pittman is very big because they don't have any receiving weapons. What this team needs to do is go out and get a veteran. I mean, T.Y. Hilton's out there. We know he's injury prone, but he's a hometown guy. Bring him in. You still got Will Fuller out there, who's a deep threat. We understand what he went through with Miami, but when he plays, he's actually a very productive receiver. You also got Cole Beasley out there.
Yeah, that's a hot name right
Come on. Go get Cole Beasley and let him be Matt Ryan's safety valve, right? When he doesn't have anybody to throw the ball to, Cole Beasley will be open. Trust me. Great slot receiver in this league. Frank Wright, definitely on the hot seat, especially after bringing in Carson, Phillip Rivers, and Matt Ryan. Brother, get this team going. You play the Chiefs next week, you might be on an 0-3 start. And you might give this division to Houston. I wouldn't be surprised if Houston makes the freaking playoffs and beats Tennessee and beats out for a second time. Hey,
that would
Houston,
be crazy.
Houston played Denver tough today. They gave Denver a game.
They really did. That defense is shocking me, man. Really shocking.
Stingley? He's out. He's here.
He's gonna be a serious.
We talked about Sauce Gardner, who was clamping up, but
he's doing his thing too. But yeah, Stingley's doing his thing. Definitely doing this thing, man. We about to get into somebody who's been doing this thing for a long time, but we got to ask a question here, man. Is Jaylen Ramsey falling off, man? Are we watching that happen, man? What's going on? This is big.
But before we start this, we do got a special announcement for our viewers. We appreciate y'all staying with us and, listening, tuning in, liking the show, I should say, right? Definitely. The show must go on. But we are now going to be implementing a questionnaire part of this podcast. Yep. So on our IG, No Games Just Business 3524. DM us any questions you might have pertaining to your NFL, your favorite team, any updates, any topics you'd like us to talk about. You might want to listen. You might want to hear, or even fantasy football questions. Just understand they have to be for the following week because we will be getting to it, right? Because of the way we record. But even on our YouTube channels, check us out. Jimmie, Darius, check us out on our YouTube channel or on our Instagram page. Just put your questions below, and we'll answer your questions the following episode. So let's get it, man.
Definitely will. We definitely appreciate y'all. We'll get into this guy, Jaylen, man. Is he falling off to you, cuz? What's up? Let me know.
Oh, man. Jaylen Ramsey, the best cornerback in the league for the last, I would say, 5 years. Right? This guy is big time. When you talk about prime time, man, that's Jaylen Ramsey. He's done it everywhere he's been. So I got to say, we understand that his last 4 appearances, besides today against the Falcons, has been pretty bad. That's the worst football we've seen from him in his career so far. But, you know, he's had the lowest rating per Football Focus at 50 over this year so far he's ever had in his career. He's typically averaging around 80, right? But this year has been the lowest of his career. But I think this guy's going to bounce back. And he did what he needed to do today for his team. Obviously, I am a Falcons fan, but I got to keep it real. He caught the game-winning interception as a top-notch corner, locking down that side of the field. That's what you're supposed to do. And I think this is what he needed. He needed that gimme. He needed that bounce-back game for him to close one out like this to then get his confidence back. Because at the cornerback position, you got to set it and forget it. If something happens, you got to let it go.
It's true.
Because that is, besides the quarterback position, that is the toughest position in football. You got to cover guys. You don't even know where guys are going. These guys run routes like these guys today. Route running is like the number one trait you need as a receiver. If you can separate from a corner, that's amazing. So you got to cover these guys every day, right? So I think that's what he needed today, and he's going to bounce back, and he's going to show us why he's still the best corner in this league.
Okay. Man, it was like watching that Diggs performance against Ramsey was really eye-opening. For me, I know Ramsey does better against bigger physical receivers, and Diggs is not that. He's a shifty guy. He's a speedster. And when I see you in cover 3 technique, when you're in the midst of a cover one man-to-man, I just don't understand why you're looking at the quarterback, Jaylen. I don't understand why your hips are opening up so soon. Things I've never seen him really do before. But for the last 6 games, you alluded to him. We've seen him get scored on 4 of the last 6 games, deep touchdown passes.
Yeah, we're talking about deep touchdown passes. Yeah.
Right. And the 65 games beforehand, this is the last time we've seen that happen. For 65 games, he was locking it down when it came to long touchdown passes on him. And for just the last 6 to be in question is very eye-opening. But I do not believe he is falling off. I believe this is the hardest era to play corner. I believe it is very, very difficult, like you alluded to with the route running, along with speed, along with scheme, along with how the quarterback can elevate that route running to another degree, because now you're guarding for longer. They're moving around back there. Kyler was going crazy behind the pocket. Yeah. That pass rush only means so much when you have time to throw that rock in. And Jaylen, he's being challenged more so than I would say any other cornerback, even with a dominant force in front of him like Aaron Donald. This era is different. He's different. And you've seen him bounce back, like you said today. Yeah, the opponent wasn't whatever, but you line up and play who's in front of you. Yeah, and he did what he needed to do. And he backed it up. He said he would bounce back. He bounced back. I want to see him bounce back in a bigger way against bigger receivers. When I say bigger receivers, better competition. And he'll have that.
There's a reason why, and I don't mean to cut you off, but there's a reason why Bama plays bum teams during the season, right? You need those gimme games. That's exactly what Jaylen needed. Get your confidence back up a little bit, and you move on to the next guy. You move on to the next opponent. You keep it going.
All right. I mean, Diggs is a top guy, and when you're going against top guys, we've seen Lattimore and Mike Evans get into it. We've seen Diggs, chirping back at him, got him in an end zone, and he got fined for that. I think the Jaylen of old, oh boy, the fuel to the fire. If that would happen to the old Jaylen Ramsey, that's why my eyebrows are raising. I'm like, yo, what's the intensity? But I believe it'll come. It'll come back in a different way as the season wanes on.
Come on, man. He's guarding Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson. He was guarding Odell, Robert Woods, who's actually a very slept on route runner.
Mm-hmm.
He was guarding these guys in practice daily.
Yeah.
He's good, man. He's good. Jalen's good.
Be straight. Oh man. Should these Dallas Cowboys make a trade, man? Dak is out for at least 4 to 8 weeks with that thumb injury. He just had surgery this past week. NFC seems up for grabs, not because of Dak more so, but just in general. Dak just adds to what it seems like in NFC. Should those Dallas Cowboys make a trade to make a push for the NFC Championship? What's up?
No.
Okay.
Dak is your franchise guy. He's out. He's out, like you said, roughly for 6 to 8 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks, whatever. Right? Who are you gonna go out and get? Tyrod Taylor? Who are you gonna go get? Jimmy G, who's now the starter for the San Fran 49ers. Who are you gonna go out and get? Teddy Bridgewater?
Yes.
Right? These are some backups these are the top backups in the league at this time, right?
Right.
But then you got to bring in a guy. He got to learn the system. You got to learn the playbook. No, put Cooper Rush in there. Let him be a game manager. You still got Zeke. You still got Tony Pollard. Establish the run and play defense. Let Cooper Rush do what he did today. Game manage. Get the receivers the football. And just don't turn the football over. You still got CeeDee Lamb. Jalen Tolbert scored today. Or no, Noah Brown scored today. That was their main guy that Cooper Rush was looking for. But just game manage, play defense, establish the run. You'll get Dak back. As long as you could win some games like the gimme, you got to win against the Bengals, right? Those are the games you got to win. So as long as you can beat the tough teams, when the easier teams come around, you beat the easy teams like you're supposed to.
Right.
So yeah, I don't think they should go out and get another quarterback. It doesn't make any sense if they do.
I believe it would make sense for certain people part of that staff, specifically Mike McCarthy. I believe he's been on a hot seat since he walked through the door. Mike McCarthy is not that guy in my eyes, even though he has a Super Bowl under his belt with the bad man Aaron Rodgers. But with that being said, I believe Dan Quinn is up there looking and Jerry Jones is up there looking. And I think they see the writing on the wall, man. Sean Payton is sitting on the couch probably looking too. And it looks real juicy in Dallas. It always does. It's Dallas, America's team. Anywho, with that being said, I believe Dallas should make a trade. Dak Prescott, you could question, is he injury prone now? You can question, is he the future now? All these different things we've had while having Dak Prescott, and what do we have to show for it? Dak Prescott's injuries are more of a question than anything else. We had minimal praise for the Dallas Cowboys, or minimal expectations for the Dallas Cowboys this year. And with that being gone, all expectations are out the window. Yes, we understand Dak's importance to the Dallas Cowboys, but the window, we're talking about Zeke. To me, he's on a prove it year. We're talking about a team that's young and up and coming on defense, but the offense has been banged up since when? Since forever. The offensive line is not it. You just got rid of Amari Cooper. You can rely on CeeDee Lamb all you want to. I believe he's a number 2 receiver. He doesn't look like a number 1 legitimate to me yet. And with that being said, I would like to go for Tyler Huntley. You're going to have to give up a lot. But it's Dallas. I see Jerry Jones doing dumb
Tyler
things.
Huntley from the Ravens.
From the Ravens, yes.
Oh, yeah, I like him.
Yeah, you're going to have to give a lot for him. But I see Jerry Jones being able to do things that doesn't just affect winning, but affect those pockets. affect the fans coming in and watching something. Watching Dak Prescott is a lot different than watching Cooper Rush. It just is. And Jerry Jones is, a lot of times he's worried about more so than just, he's worried about more things than just winning. Mike McCarthy, if you want to win, I say get somebody in there better than Dak because it will help you sooner. I believe he can potentially be fired before the season even ends. And if they don't make a trade, I believe the likeliness of that happening would, skyrocket. Taylor Heineke is another good guy. You mentioned Teddy Bridgewater. I like him. Jimmy Garoppolo's off the table. But get somebody mobile. Get somebody with some pizzazz in there. Cooper Rush is cool. He's a good fan, a feel-good fan representative or fan favorite. But Cooper Rush, yeah, you're not it going forward for the Dallas Cowboys if they're looking to make a push into the playoffs.
Yeah, I can't agree with saying that Dak is an injury-prone quarterback. The only reason I say that is because when I look at injury-prone, I'm looking at, oh man, he has a turf toe. Oh man, he has a sprained ankle. Oh man, he has a pulled hamstring. Oh man, he has a shoulder bruise, or something's going on with his thrown arm. No, he's had 2 freak injuries. These are freak injuries. When his ankle popped out, that's a freak injury that rarely ever happens.
True.
You break his pinky on a guy, in his, right in his face. He hits his hand right on the guy's helmet. See, these are injuries that don't really happen. So, these aren't knick-knack injuries that are affecting him daily, right? So he has the rest, to get back to what he was before. I can't bring in a guy where I have to give up capital to bring in to then learn my system already 2 weeks into the season for maybe helping me win 4 games.
Do you think they're sold on Dak Prescott though?
They have no choice
because they paid him.
We talked about this when we talked about Lamar Jackson. You have the quarterbacks have the GMs basically by the by the collar, right?
Right.
What you gonna do without me? Who are you gonna bring in? You gonna bring in Jimmy G? You gonna let Jimmy G the winner? The winner with Tony Romo was a homegrown guy. He drafted him. Jerry likes those guys.
He did that to even a homegrown guy. He loved Tony Romo and got rid of him for Dak.
Not that Tony Romo. Well, yeah, Dak did take over that spot.
On some Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre feel. Jordan Love, Brett Favre. I mean, Aaron Rodgers feel, maybe. Go get your Jordan Love, man. Dak, he ain't even. I'm sorry, again. If Dak was Jimmy Garoppolo, what would we be saying about the Dallas Cowboys?
Jimmy's just a winner, right?
Is Dak that?
But is winning gonna give me a Super Bowl? The ultimate prize? No, it's not. He may win me some games. We may be competitive every single year. But if it's not turning into the promise, if it's not taking us to the promised land, if it's not getting us that gold or diamond, I should say, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. And that's my issue with Dak is that, yeah, he puts up numbers in a lot of times, and a lot of times like during a game where it's just out of where they just aren't going to win or garbage time. That's what I was trying to get. A lot of times in garbage time when it has no meaning, right? And that's my issue with Dak. You're right. Zeke is on the prove year. That's why I said this is the year where you're like, and Jerry Jones already said it. We need to get Zeke to football. So get Zeke to football, establish the run. Tony Pollard is actually solid and explosive. Have a 1-2 punch, and Cooper Rush, don't turn the football over, and we'll win games. And defense, play defense.
They're going to create some turnovers on that side.
Oh yeah.
I definitely could see it. Maybe in that because of the division, like maybe you can squeak by some just because of that. They have a formula to get it done, even if they don't make a trade. But we'll see what these Dallas Cowboys do. The NFC sort of seems up for grabs, though. Who's your team that you think is in the front runner as of now?
Wow. Man, I got Bills saying Super Bowl. But I'm with the Saints injuries, Alvin Kamara. I hear that Jameis Winston's having some back issues now.
Mm.
Michael Thomas is looking like that number one. You might be right on that comeback player of the year. I mean, right now we're doing pretty solid on our predictions right now.
For sure.
And we gotta keep going. Drake London's playing well.
He did got a touchdown.
Eden Hutchinson's playing well.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas is playing well. Patrick Mahomes and Lamar's playing well. Josh Allen. So I mean, it's only a week. We're on 2 weeks now. Josh Allen didn't play yet, but still, we right on the money with our predictions. But
sure.
I got the Saints Bills Super Bowl, but I don't know, especially with what's going on in New Orleans. I'm looking at this Minnesota team, and I told you that they're a sleeper. They're a sleeper. Don't be surprised if they win that division over the Packers. I'm also looking at this Philly team. As much as I hate the Eagles, this team is tough. A.J. Brown already getting into it with Jalen Hurts. They already found their connection. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Philly just got to play defense and continue to be an explosive offense. So, I mean, right now the NFC is up for grabs. I don't know who's really going to be able – I can't say who's really going to be in the Super Bowl from the NFC, but still, Bills is my Super Bowl favorite, and I'm going to say it till the end of the season. I don't care.
Facts. That's the same for me, man. The NFC is up. It is up for grabs, man. And I believe, I'm gonna mention him, TB12, the GOAT. He's always gonna be there. That's neither here nor there. But I believe those Rams will get right towards the end of the season, and Jimmy Garoppolo will be able to make those 49ers speed up the process that would have taken place with Trey Lance. I believe with that young quarterback, the offense would have been a little bit slower out the gates. I believe we'll see the 49ers take a leap. I believe they're battling injuries as well. But the team that can stay healthiest in that division, I believe that is the NFC West with the Rams. And you got the Cardinals. And you got a lot of teams that can do a lot. The Seahawks, I'm not really counting them. But the 49ers, I believe they can do something along with Brady. Those are the two teams, I believe, at the top for me in the NFC as of now.
Yeah. San Fran, they definitely need George Kittle back.
Mm-hmm.
That's their safety valve right there. That's the heart of the offense. I mean, besides Debo, but that's the tone setter before Debo, George Kittle.
Right.
Because he gets in the trenches, he'll get you. He'll knock out your linebacker, your defensive end, and he'll catch touchdowns on you.
That is a fact, man. Let's segue into these bold predictions, man. Let's look forward to week 3, man. What you thinking? What's your bold takes? We got a lot of great matchups. There's a lot of division games. Week 3. What's up?
All right. My first bold prediction for week 3. The Dolphins continues to show the league who they are, and they take down the Super Bowl favorite Buffalo Bills. And Tyreek and Jaylen Waddle still tears it up and shows you why they're the best duo in football at this time. The Dolphins go 3-0. The Buffalo Bills are 2-1 after week 3. Number 2, my man, after his career day, Aiden Hutchinson, is going to come back and get you another 2 next week and knock down Kirk Cousins twice. And that's going to bring his sack total in 3 games to 5. He had 3 today. Next week, he's going to get another 2, and it's going to be a total of 5. My number 3 bold prediction for next week, week 3, I'm going with the Raiders. The Raiders.
Over.
Nah, I'm just going with the Raiders. Bounce back against Tennessee.
Okay.
They beat Tennessee, and Devontae Adams goes for 150. Hunter Renfrow potentially has a concussion.
Right.
And I think that connection between Derek Carr and Devontae Adams comes back, and he goes for 150, has a big day, and they finally get their first win. Titans go 0-3. Raiders get their first win, and hopefully I get my win in fantasy football when Devontae Adams does get that 150.
Okay. I can see. Man, that's crazy. Titans 0-3.
Yeah.
All right, so for me,
yeah, you saw that hit that my man from the Giants put on Derrick Henry.
Got a little taste of his own medicine, man. That's shocking to see. Seeing him on the other side of that blow. But we're gonna talk about, for me, the Jags beating them Chargers. Justin Herbert or not. Justin's he's a little banged up right now. Had a tough Thursday night. But I believe them Jags, your boy Dougie P. It seems like Trevor Lawrence might get more than them 3 or 4 wins this year, man.
I told you 6. All they need is 6. That's a positive for them. Hey, we talk. They in the division. We just talked about the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
What they doing this year, right?
Nothing.
Shoot, Dougie P might have his Jags team in the playoffs.
He just might.
Philly, you see me. Philly, you see me. Go ahead, man.
Philly ain't too tight though. They doing their thing too.
We
see you, Dougie. We see you, Dougie. And I gotta agree with you, man. Them Dolphins. I hate to say that as the Patriot fan and all, but them Dolphins are here. The Bills been here, and it's getting crazy in our division. But I believe those Dolphins will take down them Bills. I truly believe that. But it'll be more convincing fashion than what we've seen in these last 2 weeks. Alluded to it earlier. I want to feel that playoff feel when I hear the Dolphins. When I see these teams like the Chiefs, it reminds me of the Chiefs, the high-octane offense, a lot of, throwing it deep and running on first down and defying the odds and not running it in short situations. But I also need to see you be able to play playoff football. I need to be able to see you stop that run and run that ball early on in your season. I want to see you create great habits when it comes to decision making, when it comes to clock management, getting points at the end of the half. I think they'll show that against the Bills. You're going to have to if you want to beat the Bills, because the Bills will not beat themselves. They learn from us. Now, from there, I'm going to go to the Steelers-Brown matchup. Whoever loses this game will lose the division. That's what I'm thinking. Now, you're talking about the battle of the backup quarterbacks. Because to me, Trubisky is not a true starter. He's a backup. Jacoby Brissett, one of the better backups in the league. Very poised. I think Kenny Pickett will soon get a chance. It might be in this game because this is a very important game. But yes, the loser will lose the division.
Yeah, Pittsburgh unfortunately, they should have beat y'all.
Yeah, they should
beat y'all.
They should.
And I think what's his name? Jacoby Myers came out and said something. He was saying that say something about the offense. It's not flowing well, and he had a pretty solid game today.
Yeah. The offense is very shaky. It's very shaky looking at. Like I said, it's the first couple of weeks of the season, so I don't expect too much from that offense. I'm more so tipping my hat to that defense. That's the most important thing to me in the beginning of the season, making sure that defense is starting. We're talking about fresh, first off. So y'all should start pretty well. Talking about being prepared weeks in advance for the first couple of matchups in the season. I love how the defense is looking offensively. We got to get it together as the offensive line gets gelled, and more so, I believe you'll see Mac Jones settle in and start darting it up a little bit more.
Oh yeah. Well, we already got 2 great weeks of football, man. Already 2 great weeks. We are excited for the rest of the season. We're going to go ahead and wrap this one up.
Oh, yeah.
But we appreciate y'all for tuning in again.
We definitely do.
Until next time, we out.
We out.
Peace.
This that COMEUP. Stand back while I do me. I'm the King James of this era. Do my best to be 2-3. You see the metaphoric beat destroying MC. They had the way this turn, sit and learn from the OGs, but slowly I have myself out like a slowly get take paper to make paper song. Speaking from this loose leaf. Damn. I ain't even gotta talk about it. They said you public in the basement, but your songs is private. Bring back the monster, the one that you keep locked in. Shit, I ain't gotta score the points. Look at John Stockton. I put my niggas on just so they can make a profit. But for now, I ain't get up and play that monster.